Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Eric Muller, Mancal, good to have you here. Overall, what's your view on the TSA and what happened? And then tell us your eyewitness report of what happened to you and your wife and daughters.
Well, I call them the TSSA because they're like the SS. And that's what Hitler did, right? He got all the fat, disgruntled people and put them in brown shirts. And that's what we've done here. These are people that, they couldn't be cops. They couldn't be soldiers. You put them in a TSA uniform. You were talking about the smiling, happy kids saying, molest me. On the TSA website, I'm reminded of what I saw a couple of days ago. They're, telling Americans, well, don't be mad at the TSA agents. You know what? I am mad. If I'm in the Army and I'm ordered to commit genocide, I don't have to do it. These soldiers of Napolitanos are breaking the law. They're breaking the Fourth Amendment. I don't feel sorry for any of these TSA agents. They ought to be arrested. I got off the plane in New York City, Alex, LaGuardia Airport. My family was invited to be part of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That was wonderful, by the way. And the cameras came over to me. I was live on TV in New York. And they said, how was it? I said, it was awful. They turned off the machine, the fix is in, and I'm furious about the way they're treating people. Like we're all terrorists. It's
you
ridiculous.
also went on Fox News and told your story, and countless other reporters have documented it, including people in my office.
Yeah, and I'm aware of that. And, of course, immediately the reporter, everyone else, and I'm live on TV in New York, Alex, they saw me with my cute little 5-year-old girls. They weren't expecting me to say anything. I got a good-looking family. But everyone else says it's fine. No, folks, it's not fine. It's the Fourth Amendment. Women are being molested. Kids are having their photos taken naked. Pedophiles are doing this. This is creepy. This is wrong. This is the Fourth Amendment. But no one else has said anything. Yeah, that's because they turned off the machines. And look, Alex, I fly every weekend. You fly all the time as well to do your investigative journalism. I haven't seen, you say 6 or 7 years ago, I haven't seen anything like this. I fly every weekend. This is Thanksgiving. I went to the airport ready for a fight. I had my cell phone on. Everybody, I was recording. Everybody, go right through. Go right through. Go right through, and then they say, oh, no protest. There was nothing to protest.
It's a giant hoax, but if they say Al-Qaeda's about to kill us any minute, then haven't they then enabled this? Now, basically, I guess they're working for Al-Qaeda. If the threat is so imminent, they just completely stood down for political reasons, then I guess they're terrorists.
Well, look, this has never been about Al-Qaeda. This has always been about you and I in our comfort zone. And they're going to be doing this, pulling us out of our cars doing this. A week earlier, I had my cheeks spread and my junk groped, and it felt like a full-on homosexual molestation session at the airport. And then the guy says, hey, have a nice flight, like I'm supposed to smile at him. The radiation going through our bodies is dangerous with these X-ray machines. And I also love how they don't change their gloves. Have you noticed this, folks? How these TSA brown shirts, the TSSA thugs...
Yeah, they've got gloves to protect them, but they've felt up 20 people before they change them. Right. They're going to put that flesh-eating bacteria, those crabs, on you.
That's right. That's right. It's okay that we have crabs. And you have to wonder, when you go to get an X-ray at the airport, right, or you go to get an X-ray at your dentist, they run out of the room and put on a big lead vest. Yet these dopes, these government pit bulls, they sit there by these X-ray machines all day. I wonder, are they thinning the herd? What is their game here? And the game is tyranny, and the game is they want more power.
Eric Muller, stay there. Mancow is our guest. We're going to come back and get his ideas on where this should go and what he thinks of Drudge and I are listed, I guess, as terrorists. Now, DHS is claiming they're caving in on the intensive pat-downs, but they say they're just going to move ahead with a no-fly list for all Americans, and they've got to authorize you to fly. They openly say in the future to travel or have a job. It's just incredible, and we've got these reports up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. These latest reports, watchdog probes, DHS spying on Drudge over TSA revolt. And sure, we're listed in the FOIA request as well, but we don't really put ourselves in the headline because this is about the government trying to persecute journalists and go after free speech. The other latest article out of prisonplanet.com, Bob Barr investigates TSA stand down on National Opt-Out Day. That's the big crime by these scallywags. Eric Mancow Muller, syndicated talk show host who travels a lot for television, you name it, gets the routine groping. You saw the stand down, for those that just joined us, on National Opt-Out Day that's now been confirmed. My office witnessed it in Denver. You saw it in Chicago and New York and other places you flew that have the scanners. Total stand down. Do you think this is as dangerous as I think it is, or what are your thoughts about it now coming out that there are TSA memos out calling us domestic extremists? And specifically now there's FOIA investigations by Bob Barr and his group into Matt Drudge being spied on, Alex Jones, DrudgeReport.com. I mean, this sounds like the Soviet Union.
Let me say this, as you talk about Drudge and your site, which is excellent, Alex, the one you're missing, which I think is one of the most powerful sites now, is Breitbart.com. Breitbart is to the Obama years, I believe, what Drudge was to the Clinton years in America. But you know, Alex, I don't think there's ever been anything that the government has done that has made me angrier. And I love these sheeple, the lamestream media. Look, nobody's reading the New York Times. Nobody's reading these newspapers, ABC, CBS, NBC. People aren't watching. And they're blaming the new media. But it's not the new media. What it is, look, Americans didn't suddenly decide we hate American cars. The Japanese built them better. We didn't suddenly wake up and say, oh, we're not going to watch CBS anymore. No. We realized that they have veered into the world of propaganda. It's junk.
We didn't give up our horses because we didn't like horses. Cars were better. And Mancow will tell it like it is, so you get high ratings. Mancow.com gets millions of visitors. They can't compete with the truth.
Yeah. But the point that I wanted to make is, see, these newspapers are going to go for bailout money. They're going to, you understand, they're going to go to, this is why they're not.
That was announced last year. Exactly.
So they're not reporting this. This is a huge story. If we lose the Fourth Amendment, if we allow them to do this, I also wonder, it's amazing to me because occasionally, you know, if there's a Justin Bieber story or something, I'll go online and need a few seconds of a song for my radio show. I'm not going to go buy a Justin Bieber CD. Or whatever it is, you know, the Black Eyed Peas you mentioned earlier, they can shut those sites down instantly. But isn't it amazing how helpless we are against WikiLeaks? We can't do anything about WikiLeaks. And I have wondered, you and I talked about this earlier today, Alex, if this isn't to make Hillary Clinton look awful. Notice how Obama really hasn't reacted about WikiLeaks, and he's thrown Hillary under the bus. You really have to wonder if this isn't to destroy Hillary Clinton to guarantee that blah blah goes unchallenged.
No, listen, your gut is right. I talked to NSA sources like Wayne Madsen 6 months ago, and he said, this guy's a useful idiot. He's being handled by George Soros. He gave the connections. He's up there on the Hill. I got it from other sources. He said, watch, they're going to release even more on the State Department, and they're going to release stuff on banks that aren't allied with Soros to try to cause a world meltdown so this inner group of central bankers can take over, and then it can be blamed on WikiLeaks, and now, 6 months later, it's all coming true.
Yeah. Try to download a Beatles song illegally and see how quick they can catch you. And yet WikiLeaks, they can't do anything about it. As I said, you know, it's like that character from Gone to the Wind. I don't know nothing about birth of no babies. They can't stop WikiLeaks. Give me a break. This is a setup, and look, the media is not reporting the big story, which is, complete molestation of the citizens, photographs of us naked, our children being molested. These are government thugs. This is the private army that our president, you know, Barry, when he was running for president, this is what he talked about. He wanted a private army. This is part of the private army. And
he said we need a domestic security force just as big, just as strong as the U.S. military in America. In fact, let's pull up that quote. You can just YouTube it, or it's in the computer. Obama calls for domestic military force. And he stay there, Mancow. Do 10 more minutes with us because I want to get your view on where all this is going and talk about just the brazen activities of the TSA, but more on WikiLeaks as well. Stay with us.
told us what he was going to give us, and it is. It's a civilian army. They're a bunch of fat thugs that couldn't make it in the military. They couldn't make it as a cop, so now they're working for $10 an hour, molesting children and taking naked photos, and if you dare say anything, well, then you're in trouble. And they love that line, right? Well, you'll miss your flight. Well, I'm willing to miss my flight, and I'm so sick of seeing these people on TV going, well, you know, anything to be safe. They're morons. I'd like to grab my, I'd like to grab them by their throats. Where do they find these people? Well, you know, I want to feel safe, and don't blame the TSA agents. You know what, Alex? I blame them. Okay, everybody that worked the camps in Nazi Germany, they're guilty. If you worked for Pol Pot, I was just following orders. No, you're guilty. What is this that we have to give these TSA thugs a free pass? I say hell no. They're breaking the Fourth Amendment. I'm not allowed to take naked pictures of strangers. I don't want to. I don't want to feel up children. That's called pedophilia. But they're allowed to do this because they're with the government. They all ought to be arrested. And why aren't, well, you had Ron Paul on talking about it. Why aren't people raising hell? Come on.
Well,
what is it? Are they putting something in the water? Is it really the chemtrails? I mean, all the craziness I've heard. Where are the... If this can't upset you, what's it going to take? Seriously, folks, if these people at the airport's molesting you and your children, if that doesn't upset you, please go to the doctor because you're dead. They need to check to make sure you still have a pulse.
Well, that's what Ron Paul said here last week, that if we don't get mad and say no to this, there's something wrong with us and we deserve it. But the good news is, despite all the fluoride and the mercury in the shots and the bisphenol A in the plastic, you know, feminizing everybody, people are getting mad and they're saying no. And I want to announce now, we don't need an opt-out day. Every day is a dignity day. Yeah. Every day is an opt-out day. I'm opting out of tyranny. I want the anatomy of liberty and freedom, not the anatomy of a slave in my society. And I'm going to refuse these anytime I fly. And if that means I don't get to fly, fine. I'm then going to sue them. And it doesn't even mean I'm going to win. But all of us saying no, there's no way they can get away with it. And when they say, we've got to do this or terrorists will get you, you look them right in the eye and say, it's on record you stood down for 4 days during the protest on Thanksgiving. Don't give me that line. The borders are wide open. You're wearing dirty gloves covered in flesh-eating bacteria.
I love it. You know, Alex, I have a trivia question for you.
Sure.
How much radiation is okay for the human body?
None, because it builds up, and they admit these things have 50 times what they previously claimed.
That's right. No radiation is good for the human structure. I've got 5-year-old daughters. I had to fly through 4 different checkpoints over a weekend, and I'm not going to let them get 4 full-body X-rays in a weekend. I mean, this is madness. And so, you know, and they're not going to take naked pictures of my children, and they're not going to fondle them under the guise of, well, we have to find the terrorists. We know who the terrorists are. Let's start profiling these maniacs. Okay, I'm sorry. If your God is telling you to strap bombs on your children or strap a bomb on yourself, you're not praying to God. Okay? And we need to profile just as they do.
But, man, Cal, to be specific, I mean, it came out on Fox News that Anwar al-Awlaki, the #1 guy under bin Laden, is hanging out secretly at the Pentagon with the Secretary of the Army 2 months after 9/11 when he's on the most wanted list. It turns out in every case, the FBI is protecting and enabling this latest nutball out in Oregon wanting to blow up the Christmas tree. The guy out at Fort Hood, he was being handled by al-Awlaki. The underwear bomber was helped on the plane by the U.S. State Department. This is confirmed. They're using this threat and enabling this threat, as the Homeland Security reports admitted last year, to go after we the people.
Well, Alex, listen, I have traveled the world. I've been into Syria, been into Jordan. Look, there are a group of people on the planet that want us dead, and it's not all of them, but they're Muslims. They're Islamo-fascists. They do exist. However, look, governments have always created fear or let fear happen or let bad things happen so that we will give up our freedoms. Do I think that our government... Look, you talk about this guy hanging out at the airport. Who were the men in suits that allowed the underwear bomber... I mean, let's wait. Don't cut me off, Alex. Let me go through this.